On day 4, we arrived at the port of Palma de Mallorca. This is us just arriving at the port around 8 o'clock in the morning. We're a little bit out of town, as you can see here, but we decided to sort of get up late and have a bit of a late breakfast stroke brunch. And the rest of the morning we spent walking around the ship, and you can see here at the Colosseum area a lot of people would hang around and watch the performers practicing for their shows later in the evening. But the afternoon was spent on a Costa cruise excursion, which took us around sort of like Baroque architecture in Palma de Mallorca. So we started off in this old town area with a real sort of focus on the palace area and also the Cathedral of Palma de Mallorca. So as I say, we just were on the outside looking at the palace and looking down here to the little pool area where swans and geese used to reside before COVID. But the main part of the tour was in here in the Cathedral of Palma de Mallorca. So our tour guide was quite into his architecture, so it was quite detailed, probably a little bit too much for the children, to be honest. We were in here for about half an hour, but we could really enjoy the Gothic architecture, the rose windows, and the Gaudi iron canopy that the cathedral had. After that tour of the cathedral, we did a bit of a walking tour and looking at the architecture of the old town. And you can see these lovely overhanging windows, which were a real feature along the narrow streets. The walking tour ended here at the main town hall and the main town square. And the rest of the tour group were offered the opportunity to visit a pearl factory, which wasn't really our cup of tea, so we just went and had a drink and then met up right at the end back here at the big olive tree before heading back to the ship. In the evening, we decided to enjoy that show that we had watched the performers practice a little bit earlier in the day. There was always shows happening here at the Coliseum every night. And just before going to bed, we came up to the indoor pool area and watched them sort of close off the pool for the evening. Very deceptively quiet considering what was going to happen later that night. Before going to bed, we did take a bit of a walk around the outer decks. One thing I'll say about the Costa Smeralda and her sister ship, the Toscana, is that you tend to focus a lot on the indoor pool area. And if you're not in the summer cruise, you would completely miss spending time outdoors in the outer decks. And here you can see this is the main outdoor pool area, which because we were travelling in October, there really wasn't the weather for a lot of outdoor swimming at this stage of the year. But that was us really. We went to bed. But at 12:30, we got a bit of a surprise when a lot of music started from right above us, which was the main swimming pool area. And in fact, we had to just get up and investigate because it was quite loud. So be aware of that if you're going on a Costa cruise ship. There may be these lively parties happening. I believe this was at about 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. Very different from an American or British ship where most people would be in bed by this point. But we headed back to our room. The music stopped about 1:30. We settled down to sleep, ready for our sea day, which was the next day.